I have to get my mic up. Hello, David. And I have to babble. I'm setting things up here, and I think I'm ready to go here very, very soon. Awesome, you're my first viewer. So appropriate. So appropriate. I can. So there we go. I never streamed on Twitch before, so there's a lot of things, and I'm not sure I'm doing half of it right. So we'll see here. I'm not a pro like Jay, so we'll see what we do here. Hello, Pete Bog. Welcome. I'm setting. Oh, wow. Welcome. Um, now we have several viewers. This is awesome. This was kind of all done hastily to fill the gap when Jay is not on. We don't have Legends and Lore this week, so I thought I need to see if I can start doing some Twitch live streaming. So we're going to work on some cool stuff today. I wanted to do something that is a bit more interesting than the usual, so I'm not going to spill the beans yet. So wait a minute or two here. So we'll see what we can see if you like this. This is kind of a Greyhawk iconic. I'm going to work on. There we go. Thank you, Pete Bog. Yep. Let's see. It's 4:02. So let me go. I'll start and say welcome everybody. Thank you so much for stopping by. This is a little bit hi Gaetano. Yeah. So this is a bit very, very improvised. So I rearranged my computers and my graphical setup and stuff, because when I did the YouTube, then I got a lot of hiccups and difficulties. So we'll see what this is, how this actually works. I'm trying to stream in 1440, so we'll see how that looks when we get into World Machine and do some actual mapping, how it will work. So this is and this is my very, very first time doing Twitch, so there's a lot of bells and whistles and stuff to Twitch, so don't expect any J proficient kind of super cool, but a little bit of a substitute to doing Legends and Lore. But then that is easy for me because then I'm just on Zoom. Now I'm flying by myself here for a bit. So tonight, the idea is to do some White Plume Mountain mapping. I've already prepped a little bit. It's a bit like a cooking show. I've done a little bit of the prep work and stuff, and now I realize that, oh, I need to do some yeah, no music. I don't want to have any DMCA whatever, and I can't pay for music and stuff. So this will be me babbling a bit. Yeah, well, there will be lots of wrong button pressed tonight, lots and lots of them. So yeah, definitely. So we'll see here. Now, first I need to see if I can switch to this. Yep, and maybe I can do my picture a little bit bigger there. So here we go, and see. So this and first it's time to switch to this. So this doesn't look like much, but I'm going to render while I'm talk here in the background. So I'm going to render. So this is going to be a bit like a boring cooking show. with not enough prep, so to speak. So what this will be is, first of all, I guess I have to present, I think everybody here knows me, but there might be people that watch this afterwards that not really sure. So I'm Anna B. Meyer, and I'm a professional fantasy cartographer. That means that I do maps of places that don't exist. And since Greyhawk is my specialty, the oldest D&D, or the original D&D setting, okay, perfect. Thank you, David. We'll look into some music. That could be kind of cool. So this is going to be a little session digging into one of the iconic locations in the world of Greyhawk, the White Plume Mountain. And I need it for my Shieldlands Up campaign coming up in a year or so, maybe. So I thought it would be time to get out early and start digging into it early, so I have time to do it right, so to speak. And this in this session, it will be using World Machine, an old version of World Machine that is my forte, so to speak. I worked on it, this version, for as long as it's been around, basically almost 10 years. So I know it kind of works. It doesn't crash that often, and it has most of the bells and whistles. I will use another one for the actual rendering eventually, so to speak, and tile work and all that jazz, so to speak. But this will be a dig into to actually creating the terrain. And what I will do is that I will create the terrain separately and render it in a tiled, meaning a lot of little small images, then put them together into the general landscape afterwards, so to speak. So, oh, hi, Bill. I'm doing well. I hope you're doing well too. So thank you so much for stopping by. So we'll see if we get some viewers. With 7 viewers already. So this now it's actually time, so to speak, to start. So that's good. So here is the first kind of just a little look. This ugly thing over here is a reference elevation. So that's maximum elevation, 10 kilometers of elevation, and this here is 200, almost 200 miles to each side here. And that is 10 kilometers. So that's about 8 miles high, and it's, hang on a second, now I need to double check here. So 300, that's 300 kilometers. Each side is 300 kilometers. What is that, 220 miles or something like that? The problem with World Machine is that it's metric, so you have to work in metrics and then translate that in afterwards. So, and now I opened something that means that I have to re-render again. So let me re-render again while I'm babbling a little bit here. That's the other big problem with doing live streams like this, is that there is a lot of things that I have to kind of fill the gaps when it's only well, I'm actually, normally I run a higher resolution than this. I stream in 1440, but normally I run in 4K. So this is actually a much lower resolution than I normally work in. So this is kind of a little bit tweaky. So I hope that it looks sharp on your screens, that you're supposed to be able to read what these little numbers and stuff and letters and stuff, what this is. So I can, it looks like it's on my little video preview, it looks like it should work, so to speak. But I don't want to run any of the video previews in full resolution because that will kill my bandwidth. Okay, perfect. Thank you, Bill. This is good. So I'm going to this will be kind of a technical setup on getting it, plus a little bit of the geology and trying to figure out what to do. So as soon as I've done this rendering in about a minute, we can have a little bit of a look at what I've come up with so far. So the White Plume Mountain is one of these kind of cool things that ended up a little bit on, like a lot of things, it ended up in Greyhawk thanks to the guy that I now should have, Lawrence Schick, I think it was, but someone in chat please correct me, that wrote the original White Plume Mountain, and I think it was his application to join TSR, that was that adventure, and that was later set in the world of Greyhawk. So it was not originally meant to be in Greyhawk, but it was inserted into the setting, and I think it made a good home there. So So it definitely will in my campaign. So now we're going to see what we can visualize the mountain and see what a huge volcano in. Yep. Thank you, Gaetano. So here is my first look at. We have in the background here is my current map as a kind of a guide map. So we have the western edge of the Rift Canyon here, and then we have the Yellow River, and here's the effluvial swamp will be in this area, and then we have the mountain itself. So let me zoom in a little bit here, and then we can look at this in full resolution for a bit here, or full resolution, but high resolution with a little bit of stuff. So this looks kind of chaotic, and it is. So I'm thinking having a multiple crater. Don't mind all the rivers here, because I just to put them in to see how it will work if I put them in eventually, so to speak. So they will be finalized at a much later state. And the colors is a blend of an uh, elevation coloring and the background map. So what I've done here is I've actually, let me zoom in, this angle will probably work. So instead of just one boring crater, I'm going plan to have like you have a major, the latest major crater is here, and then you have some fissures and stuff in the meaning, and here you have another crater that is a little bit older, that are part of the same big massive, so to speak. And here is the dead knoll eye socket is down here, and that's an old eroded crater, so to speak. And I just do that like a lot of volcanoes, as the crust moves over the hotspot, then the volcano every few million years, that is like a new cone poking up of out of the ground. So I'm thinking about doing a fantasy version of that for this project. Hi Jim, welcome. Thank you so much for stopping by. I have 13, there are 13 viewers, so M5 tie-ins, so okay. Cool, yep. So this is, so I'm thinking more like a fantasy version of the geology of this. So I'm thinking like fantasy tectonics, fantasy volcano kind of thing. So with some inspiration from the real world, and then try to make it a little bit cooler than the real world. And then so the landscape is basically at a base here, it's eroded rock, and then the higher up it goes, the less erosion it is, and the more kind of just wacky, kind of twisted, contorted landscape it is, because volcanoes are full of this kind of rough, uneroded rock that kind of looks crazy. And you have to remember the scale of this. This is a major mountain. So this is really, really tall. This is like a 6, 7, 8 kilometer high. This is Mount Everest high mountain, so to speak. And this crater here is well over a mile in diameter. So these are huge features. So that means that this could function as a mini setting. You can have all sorts of different biomes. That could be forests and alpine and polar regions, almost glaciers and stuff like that in parts of it. And then you can have lava, lakes, streams, all sorts of cool stuff within the craters and stuff. But that's something to add afterwards. What I'm working on here is just the basic elevation and setup of the landscape. Yep, yep, Bill. This is like a big version of Mount St. Helens. Yep. So I was thinking for this next 2 hours to see if we can extend the landscape towards the Rift Canyon, and especially this area, because the effluvial lake and the surrounding here kind of belongs to the same, so it should be done in one continuous part, and then I can render this at high resolution and export it out separately, and then integrate it into the landscape. Or eventually might work the whole landscape from here. We'll see a little bit. So this will at least be the start of the area, so to speak. So I just need to open a new browser, and we can take a look at what the what the landscape looks like from here. So let me look at it on the latest version of my easy zoom here. We can kill that off, and then we can look at this here. So here we go. So for everyone who is normally not wandering around Greyhawk, so we have this area here is where we have north of Nirdiv, between the Nirdiv Lake and the Rift Canyon is White Plume Mountain. So I'm basically thinking of this as the ground kind of convulging up and forming that kind of lava cone and all the mountains and middle. And this is, I made it easy for me on the published version of the map to actually put some smoke kind of on top of it, because that way I could hide the volcano, so I didn't have so I could do it whatever I wanted under it, so to speak. And then we have the great effluvial swamp here, but this is kind of just boring flat. And in order for this, I'm thinking this is like a lake that is got full of volcanic sludge and sulfur and all sorts of weird things flowing into it. And then you have Thingizzard's hut, the hag, that lives here on the edge of the shore. I've done versions of this before that haven't shown it to anyone, so and they were not too bad. So we'll see if we can make this even better. So this will be kind of a test range to see if we can go even better. We have there's a couple of, we have the town of Yellowreach, we have Castle Mukos and Bolarn Keep here. So we'll see if we can make the terrain from here and make the special terrain up here and see if we can render that. So I'm going to keep this map on the side. I'm going to post the link to this. So anyone who wants to go in, you can just go in and look at this. Yeah, how recent this was active, that's a really good question. I think that should be up to each one. In my campaign, it is active when the current inhabitant of the mountain wants it to be, so to speak. There is magic powers that involved that they can make it active. And I'm not going to spill too much of that detail because it ties into my current campaign, but it will simply be something that, oh, hi Jay. I'm trying to fill your shoes. It's not going well, but I'm here at least. I'm on Twitch for the first time. So I hope have a great vacation, and I don't want you to that's awesome. So yep. See, you couldn't stay away from Twitch, but that's good. So make sure you just have fun and enjoy your vacation. Yep. So I'm going to keep this on the side, so that way I can concentrate on this. And now it is time to start digging in and see what we can do for the general terrain over here, so to speak. So first I'm going to go in here, and I'm going to, there's the leveling where I have the reference height. So I'm just going to move the reference height over here in the meantime. And terrain 4, the reason this is called terrain 4 because I took the setup from another file that had terrain 1, 2, and 3. So I can, let's go in here and just rename it, probably, so we can rename that one to Terra 1. It makes it a lot easier. Okay, yep, yeah, I'm looking forward to it. So to have back. Have you set up a topic yet? You need to figure out a topic for Sunday, or maybe you can have a vacation report on all the cool nerdy studies you've done. Yep. This is World Machine. It's a program called, World Machine. It's a program to build virtual terrain. So you generate height maps and you can generate textures and stuff like that. So it is at worldmachine.com. So let me go in here and I can show the link to it so you can tell World Machine. So there we go. So I'm going to copy the link. There you go. There is a free version that you can test it out that basically has all the functionality, but you can only render in low resolution. so you can test it out. And it's a tool where you program this, so you work in with little gadgets like this. So it's visual programming, and then you generate it. So this is what, yeah, what we are digging into here. So let me go in, and so we have let me do a group here so I know what belongs where. So I group this and do this, and I call the new group terrain 1, and we change the colors to something green like that. There we go. So there we go. So now I have terrain 1, and then I'm going to save that. Okay, yep. Have fun, Jay, and enjoy your vacation. So what we do now is that we use shapes to tell it. So this program works by building height maps, and height maps is just a grayscale bitmap image that is in the background that tells the program where to put a fractal that is like a whole bunch of numbers that generates an algorithm that generates the look of the mountain, so to speak, of terrain. So I'm going to start expanding the terrain north, and this needs to be, we'll see if we can make this a basin, because I've added a function for lakes and rivers. So we'll see if we can get the world machine to calculate, to create the effluvial swamp, kind of that lake basin by itself, or if that's something that we have to go in and manually create afterwards. We'll see. So we start by adding, I want a little bit of like a lava field here. So I'm just gonna create that bit here. And now we get like maximum elevation, and that's definitely not what we want. So I'm going to lower that significantly and then let it cover. There we go. And now I'm going to reduce the resolution and work in really low resolution, so we can render this without you guys have to sit and wait for things to render for 2 minutes. So now I'm going to go in and render, and since I'm using a much lower resolution, this should only take like 20 seconds. So this is why I want a really fast computer, so I can do this instantly. That's the idea. So here we have something that might work there, because I want this to be an old lava field, so we can go in and see if we need to erode it even further. So here we're starting to build the eastern shore of the effluvial. So I'm going to work my way around and see if we can create the terrain and get the river to the outlet in the right spot. That's the tricky bit. World Machine, you can do a lot of cool terrain, and if you don't have any target terrain, you can just make something that looks awesome. That's easy. The hard bit is to make it look awesome and then to script, so to speak. It needs to match the current existing Greyhawk map. That's the tricky bit. That's the really tricky bit. So here we have a first bit here, and I think the elevation looks okay. I think it's probably 2,000-3,000 meters. I can actually go in here and check, and it's about 3,000 meters something. So I'm going to, so this opens up some interesting perspective to keep. So I'm going to keep it that high. And in a temperate area, that means that we can have all sorts of cool, kind of cold, temperate regions up here, so to speak. So, and a lot of people don't realize there's 1,000 square miles here that with nothing, so to speak. So there's a lot of wilderness you can do cool stuff with. So let me create another one here and go here, and I'm going to basically create the, might be a little bit high, but we'll see. That one is 3,600. So let's go down to 3,600 on that one too. And I'm going to use a little bit more breakup on that one. Something like that. And now it is time to make another one. I leave a gap here because I want to see if World Machine, that way I will create a natural valley where the outlet's supposed to be. And then I just go over and do the, just do the basics here, and we'll see what we, and there's some higher country there, so but here I'm just going to do the actual shore of the effluvial lake here. So I'm going to lower that to 3,600, so it's the same, and see whether this will work or not. Okay, so now we go in here, and now I'm going to remove the guide map overlay because we don't need that at the moment. Now we have it, so we can see what the actual, so now we have, it might not even be high enough. I might need to tweak the yeah, no, not really. So okay, so here we got a river here in the right spot, but we didn't get a lake. So we need, we need to kind of make the overlap here and see if we can generate a lake. It might not be automatic. We might need to have a lake function that needs to be added manually. So the next step here is to simply, I'm just going to create a new one here and just test out and see if we, what happens if we just create real quick. And there's a lot of blue. That's because I have an automatic lake and river device in here that creates the lakes and the rivers automatically. And like you see, it just creates the river wherever it feels like. So now it created the river flowing out there. So that didn't work well. So now we need to trick number 2 here. So we have restructure happens, restructure mask, that's where we have it. So let's go in here and add well, we'll see. Yeah, I'm going to mask off and say that I don't want the river device to restructure the terrain. Okay, that means that we still have a little bit of a problem there. So yeah, so we need to create the lake surface manually and then work with that later. So that will not work automatically. So that's the tricky bit when you have this. So I will probably need to remove the restructure from this, and create, but that one worked really well. The terrain I created, the first terrain, really works well for this bit. So I want this bit to look the way it is. So what I will do now, we need to go back from where we started, and so I'm going to remove the mask, and then I'm going to remove these as well. So now we need to do what I was afraid of that we had to do to begin with. I have to create a new terrain. So now I'm going to I'm going to use a different smaller area and just that way. And so we have a little bit of a smaller area so we can render in. There we go. And I'm going to set that one to 1,000. So we have a 1K. That way we can see a little bit more what we're working on here. And now I just need to create, this was the terrain one. Now I need to create another terrain recipe and then merge the two so we can use another one and blend it in with the existing terrain. So first I need to create some fractals. So I'm going to start working with this, and here we can see and I need some distortion. So I'm just going to copy the distortion setup from that one and then pipe that distortion in here. There we go. And if you can see this little bit, I'm going to go in here and we can take a look at this. And then we can render this here. And here we got something that looks kind of like lava that has been, but it looks a bit repetitive, and it definitely needs some more tweaking here. So now I'm going to, I'm going to increase the size of the fractal to 19 kilometers, something like that. Now it's not repetitive on this size where we work in. And here it is. Let's see here. Here we got something that might work. Lava is actually among the easiest thing to do, because lava just looks rough and eroded and just looks like these kind of alien landscapes. Are among the easiest to do because they are so basic in their setup, so to speak. It's the natural blended kind of eroded looks and stuff that is much harder to do. So I'm going to keep this and use that bit. But we need a little bit of erosion on this one, because this is older terrain. This is not the latest, the volcano that is spewing out lava at the moment, or maybe this might be 10 million years old. It's far away from the volcano, but it's still volcanic in nature, so to speak. So we definitely need to have some erosion on this. So I'm going to go in here and add erosion. This terrain have erosion on the first one, but only on the lower parts, and the upper parts is untouched. This one I want to have a bit of erosion on the whole thing, but especially on the lower parts. Note this is this template is all created from scratch. I just took all this and just created it from scratch. But I used a previous version of it that I used for other stuff, so to speak. So this is just me going from scratch. So it's no template from it. The only thing I import previous is a guide map, so I know the proportions. So that's just the same map you can see in Easy Zoom. I just take the terrain background and then I just start programming this from the ground up. So I put in the guide map in there. And the key for the guide map is to know the size of it. So the guide map is 9,500 kilometers by 8,250 kilometers. So I put that in there, and then minus 500 on each. That means that I get the city of Greyhawk roughly in the middle, so to speak. And I need to remember those coordinates. So what I do when I export the terrain, I export the guide map out, and I use the guide map as a reference image. That way I know that everything ends up in the right spot, so to speak. And that's important when we start importing the results of this into GIS and georeference it, because then we need to place everything spot where we want it, so to speak. So now we can start looking at the eroded version. So if we look at this and then do a low resolution render, and now you can see that the erosion is starting to take in the edge of the bit here. So I need to be a little bit more aggressive. I think we can probably be even more. So I'm going to put this, and I'm going to do channeled erosion, and I'm going to have a little bit more of time, so to speak. So this is how long you want it to go, and then you can enhancement is you can be even more aggressive with erosion. And a little bit of post-channeling erosion too. So I'm going to add a little bit of that. And now we can look at this and see what this looks like. Yeah, now we're starting to get somewhere, I think. Yeah, this could actually kind of work. Yep. But now it's time to start thinking of putting how high this is. And I'm going to I can put this, so to speak. And this is the how high so I'm looking at the colors up here on the left. So I'm actually looking at the, so then we can see here, so we can actually see here on the edge. So we're working really high. I don't think I need to be that high. So we can actually go and lower the elevation. That's probably better. And this is the theoretical upper limit of the terrain, so to speak. I can't go any higher after I program this, or I can go for up to this and lower. So this might actually work. Now I'm going to do a low render again and see. When I press the yellow button, I only render to that device and I don't render the whole thing, which speeds up. This is starting to look kind of useful. But now I want to erode even more of the flat areas. So I'm going to take another erosion after this one and pipe the terrain in. Now I want to be really aggressive on this one. So I'm going to do this, and I'm going to set the rock to be softer, and I want to have way more dirt, because what happens is that lava is so harsh. So in the beginning there's no soil to work with, but as the terrain erodes, there will be more and more soft soil. That's what I'm simulating here. And then I want to bring it up to really long and channel depth a bit, and some post channeling. And now we'll see. Now we'll look at this. Here we go. Now we have a terrain that is almost eroded down to flat land, so to speak. There are some spikes and stuff, and normally you will put in a blur that will eliminate the spikes, but since this is an old lava landscape, it's kind of cool to have these spikes sitting in here. And what I'll do now is that I can blend these erosions in, and so what I'll do is that I can look for a selector here, and what I'll select is that I select for slope. So after this one here, I go in here, and I want to have the flatter areas to be kind of roughed down a bit here. So something like that. And then I pipe that in there, and then we look and see what we get. I could probably be a bit more aggressive, I think. Yeah, this is kind of, this will be an eerie lava landscape with some pillars and stuff sticking up. Maybe it's a bit too, but this is the extremist version of it, so to speak. Now we're going to test run this and put it in with, I'm going to create I'm going to take a blur, copy the blur down here, and now I'm going to create a new terrain 2 device here. I'm going to call this one TER2. That's my short for terrain. And then I'm going to pipe that into the blur. And then I'm going to mask this one and say only going to happen where I'm selecting it to be. Now we need to be able to combine these two, and that's the tricky bit here. So I'm going to take a combiner, and I'm going to take a chooser, and then I'm going to put that one here, and then we take this one and pipe it in there. Now we need to take everything that goes out of this one needs to come out of that one instead. So that is this one, and pipe it in there. That was it. So it was easy. And then we pipe in this one, and then we pipe in that one. Okay, so now we can go in. Now we can select here, and now I'm going to save this as a new version because I'm changing things. I'm going to just put in a -2 here. There we go. And then put it in here. Yep. I hope that my picture is not, I can remove the picture if you want, if you don't want to look at me. I'll do it this way. So yeah. So now we can go in here and we can choose terrain 2. And now I need the guide map again. So we're going to blend in the guide map in this here. So there we go. So here we have terrain 2. And then we have the guide map. So now we can just start bringing in a little bit more. I'm just gonna bring in this and this. There is no restructuring on this one, so this will be tricky. And with restructuring is, then I mean, hang on a second, let me do this. So with restructuring, it's a device that is actually here is restructuring, and that is actually creating that rivers go down, flow downhill all the time, so to speak. So it will actually carve out and make sure that the terrain, all the valleys leads towards the ocean, so to speak. So they all lead down, so there's no dead ends, that no big holes in the ground. Oh, hello. Hi, Kfir. Welcome. Thank you so much for stopping by. Yep. So this is kind of, well, Twitch says first-time viewers, but I only have first-time viewers because this is the first time I'm streaming on Twitch. So this is my inaugural stream here. So, yeah. So I'm working in World Machine and trying to do some terrain from for the White Plume Mountain area. So it's some experimenting and stuff. So now I'm going to take this and do a first kind of test render, and we get some really nasty big peaks and stuff here that we need to tweak. So that is, yeah, like this looks absolutely crazy, full of lakes and stuff. So but what we've done full elevation. So now we're going to, the first trick is to reduce the elevation a lot here and then see where we get. So I'm going to put in half, and then we go in here and we'll see what we get. Oh, it doesn't have enough oomph, I think, this, and it's too spiky. So what we can do is then we can do trick number 1 is to, instead of having ridged, we can go to billowy. And then I'll simply go here and just increase until we get up to, there we go. This is wild anyway, so to speak, so we can, yeah, it's way too spiky. So that is, we need to start thinking about this. So so I'm going to remove this, and we need to, we're way too aggressive on the spikes here. So I'm going to remove the, bypass that one just to, and then go in here again and see what we got if we do that. Because it might be that the other erosion was a little bit too, yep, I think that was, I was overthinking it, which is not the first time that happens. and we'll see, render this. Yeah, that might work. And since we haven't restructured the landscape, that means that we get lots and lots of lakes. Yes, that's a great question. Rift Canyon is a huge canyon that is like 5 times or several times bigger than the Rift that Grand Canyon is. So we have oh, hi Angamharand. So yeah, so we have a huge, let me show that here. So we have Rift Canyon here is a huge canyon that was on the original Darlene map and is being described. It's actually being described as a fairly modest affair, but on the Darlene map and other maps, it's even before me, it's depicted as this 200-mile, 50-mile wide, 200-mile long, enormous kind of canyon going or digging into the landscape real deep. So I'm going to go with that because I like fantasy being a bit bigger than the real world, so to speak. So I'm going to go with it, and we are kind of next door, so we have to start thinking about. That's why I went this direction first, away from it, because the Rift Canyon is a project in itself. We just need to be aware of it, so we don't we don't shoot ourselves in the foot, so to speak, when we go closer to it. And if we go out here, you can see that the Rift Canyon is over here. So here you get a sense of the scale. We don't, no one knows. There could be a lot of things. It could be a gate to the abyss. It might be full of lava. It might just be shadow, plane of shadow. Yeah, it's a bit up yep. So it's a bit whatever you want it to be, so to speak. So there's definitely room for a lot of cool stuff. There's someone said there's dinosaurs down there and a world in itself, which kind of Hollow Earth, maybe. Yeah, there's a lot of cool stuff that can be in there. So you can definitely have lots of stuff, so to speak. So here we have. So I'm going to stay with this for the moment, and now it's time to check the elevation of this. 1,700, 2,000 meters. That's not too bad. It's about 5,000, 6,000 feet up. That's probably work. That can work. So I'm going to go in here and just keep working on the slope of. I think that's kind of the target height for this. So that one is set to 7440. So I'm going to stay with that same, roughly the same elevation around the whole area around the effluvial swamp here. So, and then we have to go in and manually create the surface. I'm pretty sure that we need to. That's not something that we can. I'm just gonna. There we go. And I'll do a little bit there, and we add some extra stuff. Now we can actually go in here and change to a bigger view here. So here we have the view, and I'm going to do it there. Yes, Pete Bog. This is kind of yeah. And one of the and I'm aware of that. Meaning, Nirduv is basically like the Rift Canyon, but water filled. So why is not the Rift Canyon water filled when Nirduv is full of water? So what I want to do is I want to elevate the terrain high enough that at least the lakes and the oceans don't spill into it, so to speak. So that's something. That's why I surrounded it by rocky terrain, so it will be elevated at least 6,000 feet or something like that. Well, yes, portals to the elemental planes, I think, sounds very plausible. Maybe it's just a gash in the elemental plane of Earth or something. So So here we have a beginning of this, and now it actually starts to look like something here. So I'm going to fill that gap there, and then we're going to introduce a lake surface and see what we can, if we can deduct something here. So I'm just gonna create, if it's going to be temporary or not, we'll see. So I'm going to create that, and there we go, and put that in there, and can add a bit more breakup. Okay, so now we have, now we're going to render this again. Let's see here. Yeah, Pete Bog, I think it's a cool idea to have new div, since it's the lake of unknown depth, meaning if you have an opening to the plane of water at down there, so it literally is bottomless. You just go into the plane of water and elemental plane of water, and it's kind of that's kind of cool. I can envision something like that too. And now we might actually have created a lake here. We'll see. What I'll do is I'll remove the guide map, and then we go in here again and we render, and we have, yep, look at that. We got a lake. We got a lake by ourselves. So this is fantastic. So now we have actually created the effluvial, so I'm going to save here. So we have created the effluvial swamp here automatically, so to speak. And this will actually kind of work. So now we know we have the terrain here. Now we just have to make sure that the lowest spot to drain it is actually down here where the drain is supposed to be, and all the other parts are higher up than that part. So we have to create a little natural valley through, that means that the lake will drain that way, and then see what we can do. So that's the, but I'm going to, I'm so happy with this, so I'm going to make sure I don't screw this one up later. So I'm going to change to, I saved it once, and then I'm going to, oh, maybe I didn't. So I'm going to go in here. I'm going to make sure I save it as this version, so we have this snapshot of this. And then I'm going to continue under a new file name. The good thing with World Machine is this is just script files, so these are tiny. They're just a few hundred kilobytes, so you can easily, if you like something, save that version, save a new version, and continue the work. And that way you can go back again if you screw it up and say, oh, I missed that version of the effluvial. And now we can actually look at the effluvial a little bit. The surface, of course, will not be textured cool and stuff and eventually, but now we actually have this kind of lake, and there's even some islands and stuff. So now I'm going to, I'm really looking forward to, I want to see more of this. So I'm going to increase the resolution here a bit to 2K, so we at least get something to do here. So to look at, that looks a little bit better. But I also don't want you guys to have to sit and watch this kind of progress bar half the stream. So that's why normally I work in higher resolution than this and take some more time rendering. But I want to cut down the rendering to a minimum here, and work on the on actually making progress rather than checking on things constantly. Yeah, I think so too. That it should be arid terrain, both high up, and the fact that the water either disappears into nothingness, or yeah, and it's up. So I also agree that it should probably be a fairly arid landscape. So now I'm going to do this, and yeah, we have some little islands sticking out. We have Thing Gizzard can live here. Thing Gizzard has some little hideout here. Yeah, we just need to structure the terrain over here, so there will be a natural outlet here somewhere, because now we have the outlet is actually over here now. That's where it flows out. So we need to either boost the terrain here or something, but that's something to work on for the future and create that's the dumb thing. When you work with fractals, the river never naturally ends up where you want it. So you have to kind of manhandle the terrain, so to speak, to create what you want. So that's the tricky bit when you have a template, or you have a target terrain to work towards. So let's go in here and start working on some of the terrain here. Now I need the guide map again here. So we're going to mix in the guide map. Okay, here we have the guide map. So here is the yellow river, or yellow flow river. I guess that's because there is a lot of sulfur and other yucky stuff in there. So now we need to create, I want to make sure that we need to prop up this area. So we need to create some more mountains. I'm looking at yeah, there's some more mountains here. So let me, there we go. Let me create some more mountains there. That doesn't look bad, I think. Let's hope. Well, now I'm still rendering at 202K, but hopefully it's not too terrible, so we'll see. Because I want to be able to see what I'm doing here. So okay, that might look a little bit, it's a little bit too high, so I need to lower that a little bit. But I also want to make sure that we can get, if we can make a natural river happen here, and by building up here a little bit, then we can kind of force feed the river over here. That will be perfect. That will be, so now I just need to lower that one to probably about 9,000 and see what happens. Yeah, that looks kind of good there. So, yep. Oh, thank you, DM Geezer. Welcome. Yes, the area around Bolarn and Castle Mukdos will be on the. Have I spelled that wrong on my map? I thought it was Castle Mukos, but if it's Castle Mukdos, then I'll check in. I'll make a note on that here. So we'll see here, and we'll see here if we have. Welcome, Dead Sky. Yep. Okay, then good. Then I'll yeah. Because my spelling is usually terribly bad. So yeah. So then, but I'll check in on it afterwards there. So there we go. Now we might have. I'm probably going to lower it just a little bit here. So I'm going to lower that much. And I'm going to change the resolution to 1K so we can keep rendering, because there will be a lot of things to render here. So to check. So I think we might have an effluvial. Yeah, I think that works. And there are a little bit of these kind of harsh lava stuff here and there. And then we work our way around here a bit. Now I'm looking at the reference map, and with the next one is over here, so I'm going to create to create over there, and I'm going to lower that one to that much and give it a little bit of a fall off, so it's, and then go in here and render again and see what it looks like. Yeah, see if we can naturally make the river go that way. That will be fantastic. It's trying desperately to go through here, I think, but we need to, if we lower the terrain in this direction, or increase the terrain that way a bit, then it will, hopefully we can tweak it to that way. There are tricks we can do, I can do afterwards too, so hi Chuck. Yeah, welcome. Yep, I'm working on the we're working on, or I'm working on the White Plume Mountain. So this is the effluvial swamp. So we're trying to get the river to the drain, the actual drainage out of it. So to come out in the right spot, so to speak. So I'm trying to force the algorithms here a bit. So it's a little bit of tricky work. So now I just need to create some, I'll do some supportive work over here too, and just, that didn't turn out well at all, so I'm going to delete that one, and then just do a little bit more here and create like a ridge that I put up here and make it, there we go, and then something like that. And now I'm going to remove this again, and I'm going to increase the resolution to 2K. And then we go in here and render. And now we can see if we got something to yep. Yep. So I'm work. I don't want to kind of be in, because the what happens on the screen is a lot more interesting than to see me sit and stare not at the camera but at another screen. So that's why I kind of fade in and out here. But when I'm talking, I guess I can have the camera on to do something, because when all the boring rendering just happens in the background, that is kind of just waiting for the thing to be done. And now it is done, so let's go in here and see. And like you see, it's kind of really tricky. It wants to, the fractals had, they are dead center to, they just want it wants to flow out that direction. So now we've been proactive, trying to prop up everywhere to get it to come this way. So now I think we need to cut a little bit of, to help nature here a bit, so to speak, to help virtual nature. So let's go in here and add a bit of the guide map again. There we go. And now we need to go in here and do some negative space here. So I'm just gonna go in here and create some negative there, create a line, and then I'm going to turn that line into the negative, and I'm going to give it a little bit of negative. I start out that much, and a little bit like this, and not that much fall off. And now we go in here and turn off the guide map again. And I'll see if I can work with 1K and still see what's going on here. And now it's time to render and see what happens. Yep. So we'll see here what the oh, that's quick. When we work on 1K, it still wasn't enough. So that means that we have to go here, and I have to create way more. There's another way of doing it too. I can cut in. I just want to do it the gentle way. Now I think we might have something here. But I don't want to cut in too deep because then I will remove the lake completely. There we go. I think we made it. Now we have the river outlet here. Okay, so there we, yep, there's still a whole bunch of lakes and stuff, but that's due to the restructuring. So what I'll do is that I can actually put another terrain in afterwards that has restructuring, so we can work on that. Or this could be other swampy, boggy, whatever areas, or I can just mask them off if need be. So there is it's a possibility of working. There's now I'm happy because I've actually created the effluvial swamp. So now we can, and we got the river, the outflow here on in the right spot. So that is exactly what I wanted. So now I'm going to save this again and then save as a new version here, and version 4. Dismal, yep, the dismal swamp, yep. Okay, so here we go. Now I need the guide map again. There's a lot of turning things on and off so you can see the result and then you can see the reference. Now I'm mixing in the guide map here. So now we can go in. So now we actually need to start thinking. I need to work a little bit on the river valley here, and I want to look at this bit here. From this bit here, I want to basically cover, I don't need to cover all these bits here because that will be in the surrounding landscape, but I want to cover a little bit of this bit here, and I want to cover some of the lava and these bit here. So let's go in the up, let's go here on this side, and some of these lava things that sticks up out of the landscape. So I probably need to work on this bit here. So let's see here. Now it's just a flat terrain there, so we need to, but then now I'm going to start taking terrain 1, because terrain 1 has restructuring and built in, because now I want the river to, and I want these things to actually restructure the terrain to create a proper drainage map. So now I'm actually going to just follow the contour here. And then just work my way in there. And first is pure guesswork how much I need. So I'm going to lower this to about that much, and then do a first. And I can see already here that it's I need to go way closer up to the mountains. So let's do that here. I can actually just move this a bit more in here and just go in here and move that up towards the mountains here. And this is 4,300, so this needs to be way less. So I move it down to 1,600 and see what that looks like. And then I move it in here. Okay, so now we go in and look, and judging from this, it looks kind of possible, so to speak. So we're in the right ballpark. So now I'm going to do a render. And this is very, very low resolution, but we can see that we have, I think the general elevation is right, so to speak. So we can start building this river valley, and if I'm lucky, we can get World Machine to create the river valley by itself, so to speak, and get the river to flow, because the river still flows out that way, and it looks like we have the effluvial lake here. So now we have 1680, so I'm going to do another that are 1680 here on this side too. So I'm just gonna, that didn't turn out. I hesitated, so let's do this, and we can just do this. Okay, here. Come on, there we go. There we go. So then I'm going to keep it. And then we have the other river here, so I'm just gonna roughly keep it here. There we go. And then I dial in this one at 1680 and a little bit more and some participation, and then we take a look here. And yeah, from judging from the overall, it doesn't look that bad. I think we, worst case scenario, we extended the lake the whole way down, or best scenario, actually have a river. So let's get rid of the guide map and then go in here and render again. Yeah, we have an extension of the lake going the whole way there, which it might work. What I will do then is to basically have like a meandering river, and that will be a floodplain around the river. So this is basically, yeah, flat, and that might actually work. That might, and then there's some falls down there, and you get a river valley. Yeah, it's not terrible. It's not terrible. It might actually kind of work. So yeah. Let's see what I'm doing here. So there we go. Now we need the guide map again. So, but the thing is that whatever we do down the line here will actually, it will kind of tie in, it will change things upstream too. So, and we can go in and kind of make it more aggressive valley if need be. So I'm going to basically go in here and create that next part here, and that way. And now I'm going to let that one go down to 1440 and add a little bit like that, a bit fall off. Can add even more fall off, and then go in here and see. Yeah, that can actually work. Then we add a bit more. Let's make that 1500. And a bit more breakup. Then I'm going to add some more on this side here. I'm going to bring that down even further to 1200. Add about 7 kilometer fall off. Now we need to build, that was 1200, so now I need to build the other side here of the other river bank here, and I'm going to build this bit here to about 1500. I'm going to make that one 1500. There we go. And then I'm going to add more here. So I'm going to make that one 1200. I'm increasing the breakup because I want a little bit extra kind of wiggly terrain stuff around where the river is. So now it's time to remove the guide map again, and I'm curious to see what this actually looks like and see if we've done something. So I'm going to increase the resolution to 2K, and then we start rendering and see what happens and see if we got something that can work here. I have to keep an eye on the time because I'm actually going to play in a game at my time at 7, so in an hour. So that means that I have to end this on where we normally would end Legends and Lore. So, but it seems to work. I hope we haven't had too many lost frames and stuff. I get an excellent little green button here on, so it works. Okay, so we actually got, and here we have the thing is that you can tell that the the it wants to leak out this way, and I think I know why. It's because that's the closest to the map border. It's actually the closest, so that's why it disappears out that way and not this way. And that's one of these idiosyncrasies when it comes to how it works. So we probably we need to create a bit more of the river valley manually here. And now you see we got a river here that is not on the original map, but it's kind of cool in a way. But so we have to manually go in and create some more river valley and see if we can get rid of that thing. And what I'll do is that we basically have to render more of the map up here and move the map border further away. We can probably go in and test that and see. So I go in here and we can just test that, see, because I think it's a theory of mine. So I just go in here and we just move it further away, and then we render again. And that's the other thing that bothers me so much, is that we just move the terrain a little bit on the map and everything just changes, or not everything, but a lot of things change. Hello. Welcome, Sam. Welcome. Yep. We'll see if we can get this to that's the theory I have. So let's see if we can, if we can prove, if I can prove that I understand World Machine or not, so to speak. That's my educated guess. Yep, I was right. Now we actually got the escape out that way instead of this way. We have a tiny little one here, but they are separate. So now we have the exit is that way. So yeah, so what we need to do is to, well, I'm going to ignore that for the moment, but I'm going to create more of a, not ignore it, that was the wrong way of saying it, but I'm going to create more of the river valley down here, and then we'll see what we can do with this, because this might be something that I need to go in and tweak afterwards in the next step, so to speak, because this is a bit of an experiment, but it's I'm happy with how it goes, because you can't solve everything in one go. That's the stuff with this. You have to improve and improvise and work on things bit by bit here. So now I'm going to take tier 1, and I'm going to take a line here, and I'm going to cut through here. I'm just gonna basically go down here. So, and remove the guide map, and then go in and render again. Let's see if I get it to work here. I have to take a sip of water. It's hot here today in California. It's about 95 degrees, I think, or something. Okay, so we almost got it to work. We got a little bit, so I need to be a bit more aggressive on this. So we take this and increase the cutting power a bit more there on that one. We have it tropical here today. There's some clouds and humidity is high and temperature is kind of a little bit on the high side, but not too much for being here. It's below 100, so yeah, I think we have more of the, we're almost there. So yeah, let's do a little bit more of the, I'm going to, and that's one of the other problems when you have to zoom in. So I have to break the weld here and then go down here and just split that one up. There we go. So, and then we can increase the cutting power a little bit more. And okay, now we go. Let's see. Yep. Yeah, well, in Southern California, we're used to it. It's like desert climate here, so 80 is what we can have in the winter. So when it goes below 60 degrees Fahrenheit here, that's, what is it, like 18, 15, about 15, 10, 12, 15 degrees or something like that Celsius. Then people think it's winter and they put on gloves and 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 so they dress up in winter clothes. See, now we got it. We have created the river, so we have the river in the right spot. It took a lot here, so excuse me. I needed to, so I needed to sneeze a bit here, but so we'll see here. There we go. So yeah, we got the river. We got the river in the right spot, and we got some, and that's, now you can see here, but we got a lot of other rivers too that are added to it. That's the bonus when you work with tools like this. If you do it right, you get what you want, but then you get 1,000 other things, so to speak. So you have like, and these are just approximations because we're working in really low scale. But here we have the yellow flow river will be here, so we'll be meandering down, and all the blue here is basically the river flats. So don't see it as the river actually being all this wide. So that's the where the river can go. So it will be the river plain, so to speak, the whole floodplain, and then I will cut out a small river meandering through there, so to speak. So yeah, this is the part I'm going to, if you go to, I can do here. So here is the here is my version of this, and I'm going to go and find the original is the Darlene map. So here is Darlene. So the originally area looked like this. It's a couple of green hexes here, but we know from the adventure, the White Plume Mountain, that was eventually set in Greyhawk, that this is in Greyhawk, and the White Plume Mountain is placed somewhere in this area, so to speak. So that was the original map, and then I did this version of it here with, but I added stuff from all the modules and adventures and stuff. And now I'm going to remake it again, this time instead of each pixel here being half a mile, so to speak, and to remake it where every pixel is like 5 feet. So that's the eventual, and the resolution here on each pixel here is right now 140 meters. So yeah, so it's like 500 feet in each. So I'm going to reduce that down to really low, so to speak. So let me, now I touched something, and that means that the the render disappears. So yeah, so the goal is to make a really high resolution version in full 3D, so you can import it into various other stuff. Yeah. Oh yeah, that's a definitely a large task here. So it will take me about years, many years to do the whole of Greyhawk in this resolution. So, but I'm going to get a faster computer and newer versions of the software. That means that I can work much faster than I do now. I can work in much larger areas in one go, so to speak. So it's getting there. This would have been a few years ago. This would have been impossible. Now it's almost possible, or nearly possible, with better tools and some more training and knowledge in this. Then it will actually be possible to do it. So this, now I'm going to save this again, and I'm going to, time to upgrade to a 5th version here. So yeah, exactly, thank you. Thank you so much. Yep. So that's what makes this possible for me to sit and do this as much as I do. So this is me of giving back to the community. So the community is doing so much wonderful things for me, helping me out in doing this. So yeah. So so this is a good start, so to speak. Now we need to start looking. Now I don't want to touch this part much more. We can look at, there is another part of the river here, so we can, but I don't want to touch that one right now, because we have a beginning of it here, so we can cut in valleys and get it to work. But right now I'm very happy with how this part here looks. I think it's very much where I want it to be. Very much where I want it to be. Let's do one render at 4K and see what we can do here, what it looks like. So I'm going to up the game here a bit and do a 4K render, so we can get a little bit of the sensation of, oh, thank you, Angerand, thank you so much. So yeah, I'm trying my best to make it worth the money, so to speak. So this will be a first time. Oh, thank you. Yeah, this is the part of doing the live streams. You can ask questions. I can kind of, you can see a little bit under the hood how this actually comes to be, so to speak, how a lot of this is done. So this is, I wanted to have a kind of a laid back, kind of cool, creative thing. I didn't want to do something boring and repetitive on the first stream. I wanted to do a bit of fun and stuff that could be cool and interesting to look at. And this is a project that will be for, of course, for the general Greyhawk map in the future. But I'm definitely going to hi Daka, welcome. And so I'm going to use it for my campaign to begin with, and then it will be on the future map, so to speak. So GIS versions of the map. So yeah, so I'm filling in for Jay on a Wednesday night here. So when he's on vacation. And now you can see that when you up the resolution from 2K to 4K, it doesn't take twice as long, it takes 4 times as long. So that's why, and normally I would tile this up to a resolution of 32 or 64K or something like that to get the resolution eventually, and that might take 12 to 18 hours, maybe 24 hours sometimes. So that's something I let my computer sit and do overnight. And then I I pray to some gods of rendering or whatever to to keep the power going over and that have no power issues for 24 hours. But it works most of the time. So I've had a few times when something have happened, it crashed, but most of the time it actually works. And then I render a tiled render, so it renders small bits at a time and then save them on the disk. So yeah. And this tool actually don't have layering. It works using visual programming, so it's not really layered per se. I'm going to show you a little bit. It works by having small little parts, and then what you do, you create the data flow, and it's like visual programming. Yep. Yeah, I used to have a UPS. The problem is my computer draws so much power that I need kind of an industrial scale or server scale UPS that is really expensive, and that has been out of my budget so far. But I would love to have a really big one, so to speak. That will be kind of good. So yeah, and this takes forever. So that's the boring part to sit and watch these little things just. The status bars just go slow and slow. Now I need to take a cough drop here. Yay, we're done here. Yep. There we go. Now you can see that the major river has half disappeared, which which is one of the problems. That you can see what happens. That I need to tweak the I need to tweak the valley here because the lake actually, it's starting to spill over, and now we have the drainage in this direction here instead. So yeah, so you can't have it all. When you tweak something, then things change. So yeah, so you just have to go in, and I'm going to see what we can do here. I'm going to take this one, and that's because we ended it here. So now I'm going to take this and bring it all the way up here. And I'm going to bring that one there, and I'm going to subdivide it. But I'm not going to go too deep into this because I need to render this at 8K or something that takes like 4 hours, and look at it and then tweak it and then do a final render and hope. Because that's basically what you do. You do a final render and hope. So now I'm going to go down to well, now I bet the bullet, so now I have to go in and render at 4K again and see. This is World Machine, so I can give you a link. So the program is World Machine, so I'm going to put a link in there. So there you go. And it comes with a free version too, where you can test it out. That is fully functional, if I remember correctly, but you can only do low resolution, and you can only use one core or maybe two. So otherwise, this is a program that really benefit multi-cores. And I have an 8-core here, but it's not enough. I need like a 24 or 32 core, or preferably a 64-core CPU with lots and lots of power. So it's not enough. Yeah. Thank you, Amhamrand. Thank you. Yeah, and it's not borrowed. They are there to be used. That's the whole idea, so to speak. That's why I'm doing this, is that people should, and I want people to use my maps. So yeah. Oh, cool, Northern Lights. Welcome. That's awesome. Then you're more professional with this than me, so to speak. I've been a long time user of GIS maps and stuff. Now I will move into actually start creating them, so to speak. So yeah. So this is, yep, so this is my take on doing fantasy terrain, so to speak, but with an eye on real cartography and real virtual terrain, so to speak. So I'm using a lot of the same tools that real cartographers and stuff use, but I'm using it to map a world that don't exist. So this is the, yeah, it takes forever. And especially when you do live streams, to just sit here and watch the progress bar. Thank you, thank you so much. Yep. So this is good. Normally when and what you should not run anything else while you do this, because whatever you do to distract yourself, that's why I have another computer that I run my stream on and stuff, where I can run Facebook and I can do all sorts of other stuff, so to speak. So I want to run as clean computer as possible. Yep, now things are restored. So now I'm going to save this as number 5, and hopefully that will be good enough. So now we have actually created, and I think we have actually created part of that other river too. And we have some other interesting rivers and lakes. And some of these lakes we can turn into marshlands, bogs, and other kind of semi-wetlands, so to speak. Yeah, GIS tools can be really tricky. Yeah, I used to be a big user of ArcGIS too back in the day. So, but then I just consumed the maps. I didn't create them, so to speak. So now I can, now we actually have this part. So now I think it's time to start looking at this area here between the effluvial lake and the Rift Canyon over here, so to speak, to see what we can create some interesting stuff, and then let this be here. So I'm going to save this, and it's now time to move on to a new. So you can see that I create tons and tons of files because I create new versions all the time. So if I screw it up, I can just go back and have the previous version to rely on. And that's okay in World Machine because these are just script files, and they're only couple of hundred kilobytes. But in Photoshop, each of these files might be 50 gigabytes in size if it's a really big map. So therefore, at the end of the day, or at least every week or so, I delete the old files and only keep the last 2 or 3 versions, or I keep every 5 versions and delete the ones in between. So I have some of the old, if there's like, oh damn, there was a layer with a mask and I lost it because I deleted it. Then I can go back to a previous version of the map and find it there and copy it back. So I have like probably about 60 terabytes of hard drive, or even more on all my computers combined. So I have lots and lots of it. But this tool actually works. This is visual programming. So these little devices here, they do different things. So they are like little programming functions. And then you tie them together with these little lines, and that's where the data flows. And then you combine things and stuff like that. So these, they combine, or they create fractals, or they do calculations and stuff. And then you can click on each of these and change the settings. So instead of typing the code like you do in C# and well, most normal programming, this is visual programming. So you actually create the flow like this, and then you go in and change the parameters, not in text, but visually. And for me, that's the way to do it, because I'm half dyslexic. So when I see a bunch of code like that, I get distracted and don't really know what to do. But if I see it like this, it works really well. I'm very visual. Okay, so let's go back and add in some oh yes, yeah, M5. Yeah, a coherent naming scheme is very, very important. So I put in, so this is White Plume Mountain, and it's 1. That means that the scale on in the world is the same as the scale in World Machine. The virtual scale is 12 kilometers. That's the virtual resolution, which is also important. So I can see that right away, and then it's version 6 of the file. And that's good because when I export, I will keep these settings. So then I know what the parameters of the exported height data and stuff is. And that way I know what the settings to import it in. And I also know which file it comes from, which is important. Because then I can go back into this file and see where it actually is supposed to go, so to speak. Okay, let's put some guide map in here and lower the resolution to 1K again, so we can render quick little things. And let's go in here and see what we can do. Now I'm going to take more of the same terrain I use for the volcanoes here and start creating. First we have that leveling square. I put that outside the map now, so I don't need it really, but I keep it there. The leveling is just a quick and dirty way if I want to lower and heighten terrain. It doesn't really work in this, but I kept it just so I can have, if I want to have a reference elevation, if I want to know how high 6,000 meters is or something, I can just create a 6,000 meters. So here is 12 kilometers. That's in effect 10 kilometers, because I want to cut down the last 2 kilometers will be below sea level. So I will actually cut down those when I import it in. I will cut the bottom part and just keep the top 10 kilometers. Oh, hi TM Syndicate. I get my first raid. This is awesome, the first raid. And I'm sorry, I don't know what to do with this. There's supposed to be buttons and emotes and all the cool stuff that I know Jay and all the other professional streamers on Twitch. I will learn things over time. So welcome everyone. This is my first Twitch stream. So I'm Meyer and I do fantasy maps. So I'm working on Greyhawk on the White Plume Mountain at the moment. So this is, okay, so now we need to have, yep. So now we need to look at this terrain. This is one of these kind of hidden, overlooked places. So we have the White Plume Mountain, we have the Rift Canyon, and we have probably about, what can it be, 500-600 square miles at least of terrain that is kind of not really detailed in any way, shape, and form. So, but I assume that this is some sort of high plateau, because it needs to be to keep the effluvial swamp kind of fenced in here, and I also assume that the terrain surrounding the Rift Canyon is also high elevation. So I'm thinking something 5,000, 6,000, 8,000, well, 5,000-6,000 feet at least. And so it's like old lava fields and various like high plateau and stuff like that. So I'm just going to, in this first instance, I'm just going to use the same terrain recipe we have for the volcanoes themselves, and create these kind of old lava fields with some old kind of, there will be some craters, there will be some a little bit of things that, hi Buffrain, welcome. So now it's time to create some fill in the gaps here. So I'm going to fill in the first bit here. And it is kind of tricky when you work in really large scale, because this is like 40 kilometers. So in this area here, the whole square here is like almost 200 miles. It's like 150 miles or something like that. It's like 300-400 kilometers. So we need to first, I need to look at, this is 6,000, so I need to set this one lower. So I set this one as, I set it 2,600, and then it needs to have quite a bit of fall off. I don't want to have, but we'll see. I put a reasonable amount of fall off, and then we'll look at it like this. And then we do a quick render, but this is only 1K, so we only get like a general idea of the overall elevation, so to speak, no details. So yeah, it doesn't look too bad. I think we're roughly spot on. I'll add some ridges and stuff in afterwards. We just want to have the overall elevation of the landscape for this part of the operation, so to speak. Now I'm going to go in here and basically add that bit here, and we're going to add, if that one was 2,640, I'm going to do 2,400 for this one. And then go in here and render. Hi Enoch, welcome. Wonderful. We have over 20 viewers. This is awesome. It's definitely a record, even comparing to the old YouTube, the few YouTube live streams I did. And now we can look at and see. I think this could actually work. It's like old lava fields, and but the thing is, I will import this into the general terrain, so then I get a chance to fix things afterwards. So not everything needs to be perfect, definitely not. We need to be in the ballpark, right, so to speak. I was more kind of intrigued in making the fluvial swamp. That was the, yeah, exactly. These are old lava fields that have been here for a long time, so to speak. I can even put in some old kind of remnants of craters, and also this might have been a bigger volcano that then and it spewed it out over millennia, so to speak. So I think this could actually work. I'm going to save there. And now we have this side here where we have the twisted thicket. And this goes down to much more lowlands here, so to speak. So this I see as a slope up that is, thanks due to prevailing winds and stuff, that will be, wind will come mostly from the east. And since this is much higher terrain, means that it will be from the lowlands here, from the south and from the east to the south and southeast here, this 90-degree angle here, that's where the weather will come, so to speak, and then it will hit the mountain, and it will fall out as rain on the lower to mid slopes. Because when you get really high up to above like 20,000 feet, there's usually not that much weather, so most of the rain actually falls below 25,000 feet. So that's why I assume that a lot of this, and then you can add some magic and druid stuff and other stuff in and add to the explanation if you want to. So now it's time to look into, and I'm going to keep the same terrain for consistency here a bit, and we'll see here. So now I'm going to create the basic, just add in here. And this one is 4,000, so this one needs to be lower. So I'm going to keep it to 1,600, and then I'm going to add 10 kilometers of fall off. So it will be very gentle slope up. Like this. So there's like various levels of plateaus and stuff, and then there's river flowing through, and that's where the effluvial, or sorry, the twisted thickets. So there's like the forested areas here all the way up to around here or something like that. When you get really high up into closer to the volcano, it's not much soil for things to grow in, but the lower or eroded stuff down here, it's much more of there's soil, and the land has been around for a long time, so to speak. So I'm starting to feel like we're starting to hit the most of the what is the goal with the stream here. So I'm happy. I'm really I'm really pleased with the results so far. I think this could be a working model for the area, and we now have the terrain from the Rift Canyon over around here. We have the Yellow Ridge River, or the Yellow Flow River. We have the effluvial swamp, and there should be a little bit more details here and there to add, but to be honest, that's something that can be added afterwards. But it's kind of, this might actually work. And what is it? It's 1:45. So I'm going to save this, and I think it's time to do a render. So I'm going to remove the map, the guide map, and then I'm going to increase to at least 4K here. Put it in and let it render. And then, yeah, if any questions or so, the last, because I have to quit on time because I'm actually have a game that I'm invited to test run a module, to be a test player in a module at 7 my time. So that is in 15 minutes. So I need to end it at least on time and set it up and get in. So, but thank you everyone for coming in. This has been, for being the very first stream, it seems to have gone well, and I hope it seems like I haven't got too many technical difficulties and stuff. So, yeah. Oh, awesome. Thank you guys. That's good. Yeah. So for being a first Twitch stream, I think it's gone really well. It worked. And we actually got the what I was hope to accomplish, because I was hoping to get the terrain done of the mountain itself, of the effluvial swamp, and of the river going down. That was the main goal with this exercise, is to get a terrain model done for that area that could be built upon. Oh, thank you, M5. Yep. Yeah, I think this is kind of an interesting way of it's not supposed to, I'm not supposed to sit here and teach you have to press that button and stuff like that, but to inspire and give you everyone a chance to see how the process is done, and to ask questions and to hear me babble a bit about how I'm thinking when I'm doing this. So this will be, I will have to work out a schedule. I think right now Friday evenings might work for me. So Fridays at 8 Eastern, or like 5 Pacific might work for me. So I hope to make this a weekly occurrence at least. And we just have to work it out so it works with the other Greyhawk streamers and stuff. So and then it will be on the same time we have the fantasy mapping show once a month. So then we can tie in, and I can keep that spot occupied the other weeks with my own personal streams to do this. Yes, I'm going to hope and see if I can, yeah, upload this to YouTube, and it will be available there too. So yeah, I hope so. Yeah, that will be one. Yeah. Okay, thank you, M5. Yeah, this is part of the fun to see what can be done. So yeah. Okay, thank you, Buffrin. Yep. This has been good. So yeah, we'll see if I can get the 4K render done, and then we can have a look at what we accomplished in these 2 hours. Or I've worked probably about an hour and a half on it before. So this is about a 4 hour work into the White Plume Mountain. And to be honest, I think it's a fairly it's a good result for only be 4 hours of work. So in the beginning, it would have taken me some years ago, with less experience in using World Machine, it would have taken me a lot longer to do this. Now I'm starting to feel fairly accomplished when it comes to World Machine. The World Machine 3, if I have a problem, I can usually solve it fairly quickly and tweak it, so to speak. So here we go. Here we have there are some issues with the high level lakes, because I have actually masked them out gradually. So there is some issues with that, but I'm happy with how the fluvial looks okay to really good, so to speak. We have a river here. Now you see its meanders a little bit different depending on the resolution. So that's why you have to the terrain only looks identical in the same resolution. If you tweak the resolution, if you move the map picture a little bit over the terrain, then it changes. So that's why you have to lock things down and then render it, and that will be the final terrain, so to speak. And then what you do is that you take the result, the data you rendered, and then you work on that, because that way you have a fixed terrain to work from. And so that's why you can't do everything in one go, because that means that whatever you change one little parameter changed the whole ball game. And that's why I need to why you need to create the terrain, export it out, and then import it in, because then that terrain is fixed. No matter what you do, you don't change that. So that gives you a stable ground. Otherwise, it's a bit too chaotic geology to work with, so to speak. But I'm happy with how the mountain look like. You have a bunch of craters here. There is some other lakes. You have I've masked off the lakes here in the Dead Knolls eye socket, and now we have these old lava plains here, and there's some rivers and stuff cutting through, which is realistic. So that looks good. There's some other rivers going through here and here, and we have a river going down there. That's also works well, so to speak. So this needs to be integrated into the lowland, but this, yeah, I'm happy with this. So I can definitely save here, and this works, so to speak. So now we have we can look at it more in, here we go, in you can see what it looks like more in something more resembling full resolution here. So now you can see top down, and this is, remember, this is just elevation coloring. It's no texturing, no materials, no texturing. So that's a whole different ball game. Once you put texturing, we need to put, like, at really high elevation, there will be glaciers, there will be snow forests, and all that stuff. And then all this blue here needs to be textured, and there needs to be swamplands on the margins here. There will be a meandering river in this flood valley, and so to speak. So yeah, the plume gets added later. So yep, yep, that gets added at the end. So yep, and that needs to be white, so we can cover up the mountains, so to speak, with it. So yep. So, but I'm happy with how this have turned out at the beginning. I'm especially happy with the crater bits here. There's like a lot of stuff going on here. We have some things that looks like ancient lava fields, and old lava fields and newer lava fields. So there's a lot of details. And then when you move away from it here, you can see more kind of eroded, more normal looking terrain. And then you have, there's like remnants of old things that looks lava-esque, and kind of, yeah, and you have, they can be water filled craters and stuff. So yeah, so I'm really happy with this. This is the result I was aiming for. And here we have some cool terrain for Thing Gizzard to hang out. Like here we have some sort of peninsula here. That will be kind of a cool place for Thing Gizzard to have his hut, or her hut. I'm not sure. And because it would kind of be a defensible position, and hard to get to, and stuff. So yes, that make it a globe, and that's where GIS comes in, because you can take these maps and you can put them together using GIS technology and actually make a global map, and a globe map as well. So that's comes in. So yeah, but I should probably end the stream now, because I need to use the bathroom and get some stuff from the kitchen and get ready for my game in 8 minutes. So I'm going to leave the chat up, and I'm going to keep the stream going until the end. But thank you so much for everybody who watched this, and yeah, and I hope it was fun and a little bit inspiring and informative and stuff. So there will be more structured streams in the future, and there will be, I will try and have different topics and much more planned, so to speak. But thank you everyone for stopping by, and I'll see you in a week, and we'll or in a by Sunday on Lord Gasumba's Gavin show on Sunday, and then there will be Legends and Lore next week, and all that as usual, so to speak. And then we'll see if I can get a mapping stream in on next Friday again. So have fun and happy making, everybody.